This is the story of Jane, a woman who had known love and also deep pain. Jane was a widow. Her husband had died many years ago, leaving her all alone in a small, quiet hut at the edge of their village. They had no children together, and that was the pain that broke Jane's heart the most. Jane and her husband had prayed, hoped, and waited for a child, but time passed, and nothing happened. Now she was an old woman. Her days of childbearing were over. The dream of having a child was gone, but her love for her late husband never died. Every day, Jane would sit outside her hut, looking up at the sky, whispering to her husband as if he could still hear her. She would talk to him, tell him about her day, and then cry softly as she remembered their beautiful memories, the laughter, the deep conversations, the way he made her feel safe. She missed everything about him. She mourned him not just with her tears, but with her whole heart. Even though she was now old, Jane still looked beautiful. Her shape was still strong, and her body was still full. She didn't understand why. At her age, she still caught the attention of men. Whenever Jane stepped out of her house to buy something or fetch water, she would notice young men staring at her. Some would even greet her too kindly. Others would whisper and smile at her. At first, Jane thought it was just her imagination, but it kept happening. One day, as she walked past a group of men, one of them boldly said, "Mama, you are too fine." Jane stopped, turned, and looked at him sharply. "What did you just say?" she asked. The young man laughed and replied, "You're beautiful, Ma. Very beautiful." Jane shook her head in shock. Have these men gone mad? She thought to herself. Why would young boys like this be admiring a woman old enough to be their mother? What's wrong with this generation? Are they drinking something strange? Or are they just confused? She was embarrassed. Are there not younger, finer girls out there? Why would they be looking at an old blood like me? This is nonsense, she hissed as she walked away quickly. But no matter how she tried to avoid it, the stares continued. Even some older men in the village began showing interest in her. Some would offer to help her with firewood or bring her food. Others would try to start unnecessary conversations. But Jane had made up her mind. She loved her husband when he was alive, and even in death, she still kept her heart for him alone. She would never open her heart or her body to another man. No man will ever see the woman in me again, she said to herself with tears in her eyes. I still love my husband. I will keep myself for him until I die. And so, Jane stayed alone in her little hut, with her memories, with her pain, and with a love that death could not destroy. One quiet afternoon, Jane was sitting outside her small hut, peeling vegetables for dinner. The sun was soft in the sky, and the village was peaceful. Just then, she heard a familiar voice call out from a distance. "Jane, my sweet Jane." The voice called. It was Anne, her best friend from long ago. Jane smiled, stood up quickly, and hugged her friend tightly. It had been a while since they had seen each other. After the warm greeting, the two friends sat under the shade of a mango tree beside Jane's hut. They talked and laughed, remembering their childhood and the things they had passed through together. But suddenly, Anne's eyes scanned Jane's body from head to toe. She leaned closer, shook her head, and said with surprise in her voice, "Jane, oh my God, you carry something, my friend. I'm not surprised that men are always gathering around you like bees." Jane was confused. "What do you mean I carry something? What is it that I have that these younger, finer girls don't have? Look at me. I'm an old woman." Anne laughed and rolled her eyes. "Jane, stop pretending. Can't you see yourself? Your front and back are still standing firm. You are loaded, my sister. You are still evergreen. There is nothing dry about you." Jane's mouth opened in shock. "Anne, stop it. What kind of talk is this? I'm old. I'm a widow. What are you trying to say?" Anne leaned in, her voice becoming mischievous. "Tell me the truth, Jane. Who is milking that milk of yours? Because I don't believe that you're just sitting here wasting all this goodness. Someone must be secretly enjoying you." Jane gasped and placed her hand on her chest. "What milk, Anne? This old body? My husband finished every drop of love, milk, and desire I had when he was alive. He dried it all up. Since he died, I've not even thought of another man. And this, your question, is suspicious. Please, I'm not that kind of woman. I love my husband, and I still respect him, even in death." But Anne wasn't done. She stood up, looked at Jane's small, worn-out hut, and shook her head in disgust. So this is the hut your poverty husband left you to suffer in? Look around you. You're sitting on riches and you don't even know it. Men would pay anything to have you. You could change your life overnight if you allowed yourself to be touched again. But no, you want to suffer in silence and grow old with nothing. Jane's heart began to beat fast. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Her eyes filled with tears as she spoke. Anne, stop this talk right now. I don't like it. If this is why you came to see me, then you better go. I won't allow anyone insult the memory of my late husband in my presence. He may be gone, but my love and respect for him are still alive. So please, if this is how you think now, then maybe we shouldn't be friends anymore. Anne scoffed. You're just a stupid woman. If you die today, all this milk will rot in the ground, and it's worms that will suck it. Continue living in darkness while light is passing you by. Without waiting for a reply, Anne picked up her bag and stormed off, disappearing down the dusty path. Jane sat there silently. Her hands were trembling. Her heart was heavy. She wiped a tear from her cheek and whispered, Lord, help me stay strong. This is not the life I wanted, but it's the life I've accepted. If you are still with me, please give me peace. I didn't choose to be a widow, but I've chosen to remain faithful. Let my loyalty not be in vain. The sun slowly began to set, and Jane sat there in the growing shadows, her heart aching, but her spirit still firm. She had just lost a friend, but she refused to lose herself. One evening, Jane sat alone in her hut, thinking deeply. The words her friend Anne had spoken were still ringing in her ears. You carry something. Who is milking your milk? If you die, worms will enjoy all this milk. Jane shook her head and sighed. What kind of talk is that? She muttered to herself. Milk? What sort of milk is she talking about? Is she referring to my breasts? She looked down at her chest and thought deeply. Is it because God gave me big boobs? Is that why these men old and young, are always disturbing me? Is that why they stare at me like I'm some kind of meat? Is that why Anne said I'm wasting what can make me rich? She felt confused, embarrassed, and even a little angry. She had never asked for this kind of attention. God created me this way, she said to herself, and now the very thing God gave me is becoming a burden. But then, Jane made a decision, a strange but firm decision. The prayer that changed everything. The next morning, Jane dressed in her simple gown, took her Bible, and walked quietly to the village church. The doors were open, and the building was empty. She went straight to the altar, knelt down, and opened her heart to God. Tears ran down her face as she began to pray. Lord, I thank you for how you created me. I thank you for making me beautiful. I thank you for giving me this body, even with all its curves and shapes. But Lord, the only man who ever touched this body with love and respect is now gone. He is in the grave. She paused, crying even harder. Father, your word says if any part of our body causes us to sin or brings temptation, we should cut it off and be free. Lord, I cannot cut off my breasts because I will die. But you, O God, you are the Creator. If you made it, then you can reduce it. Her hands trembled as she placed them on her chest. Father, please reduce my breasts. Take away this distraction. Take away this thing that men keep chasing after. Let them leave me alone. I just want peace. I want to remain faithful to my late husband. I want to honor him with my body. I don't want this milk to be a weapon of sin. Please, God, answer me. Jane prayed and cried for a long time. When she was done, she stood up slowly, wiped her tears, and went home. The miracle. The next morning, something strange happened. Jane woke up, stretched her arms, and went to fetch water as usual. But as she dressed, she noticed something. Her breasts had shrunk. They were no longer full and large like before. They were now smaller, lighter, and less noticeable. Jane stood in front of the mirror, covering her mouth in shock. She smiled, then she cried. Then she dropped to her knees and whispered, "Thank you, Lord. You heard me. You answered me." She was filled with peace. For the first time in years, she felt free. Free from unwanted attention, free from whispers, free from temptation, free from shame. The end of her trouble. From that day on, Jane went about her life peacefully. No more strange stares, no more men disturbing her, no more gossip or pressure. Just her memories, and her quiet, faithful love for her late husband. She had chosen honor over pleasure. She had chosen peace over popularity. And above all, she had chosen to let God be in control of her body and her life. Moral lessons from Jane's story. 1. Your body is not a product to sell. It is a temple to protect. 2. Loyalty does not die with death. True love continues even in silence. 3. When people try to make you feel ashamed of how God created you, take your case to the Creator. 4. Not every beauty is for public use. Some beauties are sacred. 5. Sometimes God answers the strangest prayers when they come from a pure heart. Thank you message to my viewers. Thank you so much for watching this touching story of Jane, a woman who chose to stay faithful in a world that tried to tempt her. If this story blessed you, please click the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell, and stay with us for more powerful, emotional stories filled with deep lessons and inspiration. Don't keep this story to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Let's keep growing together. Subscribe now and join the family. God bless you richly.